Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q2 FY22 earnings conference call of National Mineral Development Corporation Limited, hosted by ICICI Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone telephone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, operator, and good afternoon to all the participants, and thanks for joining in. We are here to discuss the Q2 and H1 FY22 earnings of NMDC Limited. From the management, we have Mr. Sumit Deb, Chairman and Managing Director, and Mr. Amitabh Mukherjee, Director of Finance. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Mr. Deb for his opening remarks.
Mr. Deb, this is the operator here. Mr. Deb, we are unable to hear you. Mr. Mukherjee, can you hear us? We request the participants to please stay connected while we check the connection for the management. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being on hold. We have the management reconnected. Over to you, sir. So you're on the call. You can continue, please.
Yeah, Abhijit?
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah. So, we'll start?
Yes, sir. You may go ahead.
Okay. So, we at NMDC have put up a very strong performance on the production front in Q2, which is reflecting in the results which is there. So, specifically, Q2 is normally a monsoon month where our productions get affected generally, and this is on the user industry also. There is a slowdown. But this time on, we have performed exceptionally well in the production front, and that is how we have just dropped 1 lakh ton vis-a-vis our Q1 performance. So that has been very good, and that is how if you look at our revenue from operations and H1 results, H1 revenue, so that has been substantially, it has boosted our performance. To that extent, I think our employees, our stakeholders, with the support of the government, I mean, we have there has been quite good results, which is there to see. So with this, I would like Abhijit, I mean, you can start the con call.
So we open it up for Q&A?
Yes, please.
Sure, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may please press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Thank you. The first question is from the line of Amit Dixit from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks a lot for taking my question, and congratulations for a good performance. I have a couple of questions. The first one is on your realization. So if I see blended realization, that has gone up by almost more than 700 rupees a ton, despite your underlying prices not going that much. So is there any one-off in the realization that we are missing? Is there some carryover from last quarter?
Hi, Amit. This is Amitabh, Director Finance. Actually, if you see the average realization, it has gone up by 221 rupees without the royalties, other things. Of which, let us say about 100 rupees is for better grade. That is, we have got this time more bonuses. So that accounts for about 100 rupees despite. Also, slime sold in Q2 is about 1.3 lakh tons less. And as you know, that slimes are generally priced very, very low at around 1800. So that brings down the average. So that's another reason. And the third is, and which is the most important thing, is that there has been a deferred lifting of Q1 in Donimalai as compared to the current lifting. So even in the month of August and September, those auctioned in the month of April and May, when the prices were peak, have been lifted. So that is another reason why the average realization has gone up despite the prices going down in Q2. These are the three reasons.
Yeah. So a follow-up on this. So do you see this lesser slime sales and grade to hold? Is it sustainable, or grade can again go down?
Obviously, it is sustainable, but the production practices now being followed. We are concentrating on the quality, so we expect quality to be maintained, and that is why we will have this bonus instead of penalties. So we'll have more. We expect this bonus trend to continue. And regarding slime sales, of course, our first preference would always be to sell our more mainline products, lumps and fines. Slime would be the last one.
Okay. The second question is on your cash balance. So if I look at the cash balance, that is, if I include the bank balance and everything, that is around 8,800 crores at the end of September. So can we expect some enhanced cash returns to shareholders?
Well, we cannot discuss this on a con call. This is for a board to take a call, and I cannot preempt the board regarding cash distribution. You will know about it in due course of time as and when the board takes a call.
Okay, that's helpful, sir. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vishal Chandak from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question, and congratulations on an excellent set of numbers. So just wanted to understand what is the status of the Nagarnar steel plant demerger?
So this is Sumit Devia. So the Nagarnar demerger is on schedule. We should probably be doing it in Q4 sometimes. So that's the status currently.
Just to follow up on that, last time I think you mentioned that the accounts of the two divisions could be presented separately by as early as Q3. So are we on target for that, or we still have some time, or the separate accounts for the two divisions, mining and the steel businesses, would be done in Q3 or Q4, sir?
No, you see, I cannot present. Vishal, this is Amitabh, Director of Finance. You see, I cannot present a separate account unless the demerger actually comes through. So we are expecting it to come through in Q4, and we are fairly on target on that because the stock exchanges, it has been filed. We have not received any objections. We are requesting SEBI for their clearance, and once the SEBI gives their clearance, we will be on fast track asking the government for holding the shareholders meeting and creditors meeting and all that. So to that extent, Q4 will be done, but the separate accounts can be presented only when the demerger actually takes place.
Right. And so my second question was with regards to your expansion plans. So what kind of, are we sticking on to our earlier projected guideline of about 42 million tons this year and roughly about 45 for next year?
So Vishal, we should be able to, 42 is something which is doable, and then however we would intend, our intention is to do much more than that. So that's something which we are working on.
Thank you very much, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Noel from Ashika Group. Please go ahead.
Hello. Can I be heard?
Yes, please go on.
Yes. Actually, sir, I had two questions. One is actually related to the pellet plant, which is expected to be commissioned in Q3 at Doniwale, 1.2 million tons. Is that on or has it begun production in 3Q right now, or is it going to produce in 4Q?
So this pellet plant is already commissioned and it is already operating. However, we had some technical glitches there with regard to the beneficiation process. So that has been sorted out now, and this year we have produced almost a lakh of tons, and hopefully now we should be able to run it smoothly, continuously.
Okay. And second question is actually regarding the production target for FY22. I think last time it was mentioned at about 44 million tons. So there has been no revision to that on that front?
Yeah. That's around 44, 45. Is that what you are intending to do?
Okay. Could I have just like a mine-wise breakdown of that? Because I just wanted to know where exactly is the growth going from.
Pardon?
I just wanted to know this 44 million because it is quite higher than the previous year. So I just wanted to know where exactly is the growth coming from.
So in Karnataka we are restricted to around 14 million tons, and the balance comes from Baladila sector.
Okay. Thank you. So that is all.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishabh Dugar from CD Research Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Well, I just want to know that is there any scope of improving efficiency of your mining operations by retaining large part of your annual free cash flows, which is somewhat near around 7,000 crore rupees? Hello?
Yes, this is Amitabh, Director of Finance. We do have a lot of capex planned now. We've got major sanctions over the last 3-4 months, which includes 700 crores for shifting our crushing plant at Deposit 14C, another shifting of crushing plant, and then we have Rohne and Tokisud coal blocks coming in, and then we have the slurry pipeline. So we are investing big time into capacity utilization, both in terms of production and also for dispatches. So there is, once these things come online, our free cash flows will be used for these major investments that we are planning, and which will not only debottleneck our existing plant capacities, but it will also significantly enhance our production capacities in the next 2 to 3 years. By 25-26, we should be able to see the benefits on the ground in terms of increased production.
So, sir, can you give a bit idea about the quantify the amount you could spend? Because what I can see that in this half year, you have spent you have done around 1,000 crores of capex, of which I assume that 600 crores is for the steel business. For the non-steel business, it's just around 400 crores. So can you which is very less compared to the cash flows you are generating. So could you quantify that we can see a change in this balance?
So what happens is that we have just started investing in these facilities, like Amitabh has mentioned, whether it's the slurry pipeline or it is our doubling of the KK line. So these are especially the slurry pipeline, the pellet plants, and the other mine expansion. So these are just processes started, and hopefully you should be able to see the results of in terms of the capex spending and enhancement of production capacities in the coming days.
Okay. So, sir, you're talking about these processes which you have just started. So, I just want to know that the nature of these processes, is it more focusing on increasing your production capacities, or is it more focusing on improving the efficiency of your existing capacities?
It goes both ways. Investing in the logistics setup and then evacuation and enhancing the mine capacity, whether it is in and then automation and digitalization of the mines. So these are all things which we are focusing on currently.
May I add that you see our plants already operate at 95-97% capacities. So they are. It's not that there is any efficiency lag in our existing operations. So these are focused also on capacity enhancement. So we have a new SP3, that is the screening plant 3, with an investment of around 3,000 crores. That will we have already awarded that work. So that will increase screening capacity by 12 million tons. So we have all these on the pipeline. And since there is a particular process from sanction to tendering and to actual execution of work, these are at various stages. So you will see the things coming up from late this financial year and next financial year, where capacity would be very, very significantly increased.
Okay, so what I can conclude that you are saying that the current non-steel capex, we will see a change in that and it will be much higher than what it is now.
Obviously, as I said, we have just awarded a tender for what, 1,500 crores for the screening plant, the third screening plant. We have got the sanctions for relocating our crushing plants worth, that will be another 1,500 crores. So major capex are on, have been sanctioned. Now to take them to the execution stage in a government company takes 6 to 8 months in terms of tendering, in terms of making the specifications, etc., etc. So once that is done, so we will see the effects coming up on capex from the next FY.
Mr. Dugar, you're done with your question?
Yes, I'm
Thank
done.
you. The next question is from the line of Anuj Jain from Globe Capital. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone, and congratulations on the good set of numbers. So, I just want to know, sir, how's the demand scenario right now, and how it looks going forward? I mean, because
So the demand appears to be good. I mean, especially in the domestic front, there's a lot of good demand for steel, and that's our user industry. Most of the iron ore goes into the steel sector. So especially in the flat segment, we see a lot of demand, a lot of pull in that segment. So appears to be good, yes.
Okay. And sir, one more thing. I mean, as we have seen in the last, I mean, for the Q2, in the first 2 months, we have seen the price decline of the lumber and fines. And in this month, for the month of October, we have seen that there is no decline in the prices, which you have announced just last week. So just wanted to have some color on the what sense of the price do you feel going forward? Like the pricing pressure has been this has been end, or it will still persist?
So what does happen is the international prices have moderated,
right.
Definitely sub $100. So there we see some prices going down. But however, the domestic sector is little different. The demand is there, good demand for iron ore. So we should, going forward, let us see how it pans out. But otherwise, we see a good demand and prices being range bound.
So we don't see any pressure on the prices going forward?
Not really at this point of time.
Okay. And one last question, sir. I mean, what about this commissioning of steel plant? I mean, that we said in the earlier con call that it will be from Q3. So are we in line with the same?
So the plan for commissioning is in Q4 currently.
Okay, now it is in Q4, because earlier we have guided for Q3. So
what you had said was December and Jan. So that's the
okay.
Q4
okay,
is
sir.
what we plan to do.
Okay, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Siddharth Gupta from Voyager Capital. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on the set of brilliant results. But just carrying forward from the previous question, you did mention that the international pricing isn't really going to affect our outlook. But are we anticipating any change in the outlook that we planned for the year? You said there's no pricing pressure, but obviously because the price has fallen from 144 at the beginning of September to almost $90 now. And secondly, sir, you mentioned that we're on track to commission the plant and have the demerger in Q4 happen, but is the plan for the strategic, are you aware of any plan for the strategic sales processing parallelly, or is it going to be after the demerger that EOIs and everything would be important? Thank you so much.
So currently, if you look at the international prices, like I mentioned, they have fallen. But otherwise, if you look at the domestic sector, like I said, the demand is strong. So we should see some effect on the domestic prices also. But then we don't believe that there will be too much of a pressure on prices currently. As far as the steel plant goes, we are currently focusing on the demerger part of it. Obviously, there is some activity on the disinvestment, but then that is something for the government to decide. We are focusing on demerging the company at this point of time.
Right. So my understanding is that you do not anticipate any major effect to your upcoming top line in Q3, Q4 based only on the price fall. Other factors affect.
Yeah, with the current scenario, that's how it is.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Soiji from AV Soiji and Associates. Please go ahead.
Hello. Sir, I would like to know, is there any dividend policy of the company which is applied for the dividend payment?
Hi, this is Amitabh, Director of Finance. There is a dividend policy of the Government of India, which actually stipulates that PSU should pay at least 5% of its net worth or 30% of its PAT out as dividend. But traditionally, if you see our dividend payout, so they have been remarkably higher from the minimum payout required. So we have been in the range from 30% to 60%. 4 or 5 years back, we even paid more than 100% of our PAT 4 or 5 years back. So we are always substantially above the minimum guidance of the government that the government stipulates.
Okay. And the second question is regarding our Nagarnar steel plant. What is the total capex spent by us till date for that plant?
It's around 18,600 as of now, approximately.
18,600 crore.
Yeah, approximately.
Okay, and we'll be planning to commission in December end or Jan start. That's what my understanding is.
Like I said, in Q4. Q4 is what we are planning.
Q4 we are planning for. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nishtha from Steelmint. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. We have been hearing some of the import bookings of iron ore taking place to India. So just wanted to know, will it impact somehow the demand for domestic iron ore as well?
Yes, we are aware of some imports which are happening. The medium sector, the small and medium sector, they have been importing some volumes. We are aware of that. But currently, we don't see any effect of that on our volumes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, you're done with your question?
Yes, please.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rashi Chopra from Citigroup Global Markets India Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So what is the total capex plan for this year and next?
For this year, we are aiming 3,720 crores, of which 2,150 crores is for the steel plant itself, and the rest is for the mining business mostly. And for the next year, we are planning around 2,500 crores to 3,000 crores. It will depend on how the new sanctions that we have got, how much we can bring it to the execution stage. And the previous question that was asked, 18,600 crores was up to last year. This year we have spent 400 crores on the steel plant. So the current cumulative capex on the steel plant is around 19,000 crores.
So 400 crores is in the first half, right?
Yeah, of the steel plant.
So that means for the second half you will spend about 17 to 1800.
Yeah, actually, you see, the steel plant, most of the capex is related to commissioning and post-commissioning payments. Now, almost the entire expenditure related to setting up the plant is complete. Now, once the commissioning starts, so all these payments get triggered. So that is why we are hoping that once the commissioning starts, there will be a deluge of commissioning and post-commissioning payments. So that's how it is planned.
Got it. So just a clarification on the royalty calculation, which includes the renewal royalty. Roughly, the number should be about 42% of your ex-mine price, right? By and large.
No, it will be around 45, 46%, 47%. Because this 22.5% would be calculated on 1.2 rather than on 1. So there is a disproportionate effect on that. So if you take it with the base price, it will be significantly higher than 22.5% if you are calculating it that way.
Sorry, so the 22.5 has to be calculated on what? You said?
You see, if your base price is 100,
yes.
So your royalties, etc. is 120.
Correct.
And this 22.5% is then calculated on 120 and not on 100. So it actually, on 100 it becomes, it is calculated on 100. So yes, it will be around 43 to 44%. 44%.
It's calculated on 100 only, you're saying?
It is calculated on 100 only. So the total effect would be around 40%.
So this time around it's
43%, 43, 44%.
43% of the ex-mine price, right? So this time the number seems to be materially higher than that. When I take it on if I take it on your reported revenues, it's coming to 42%, but your reported revenues already include the royalty. If I remove the royalty from your realization, the royalty as a percentage of the realization is coming to almost 53%. So I'm just a bit confused on that.
It's coming out around 2,700 crores on both royalty and other levies and additional premium. It comes to around 24 and 24, around 2,750 crores on total income of around 13,500 crores. So it will be. It will not be very significantly higher, I think. I do not know what your math is, but around 4,500 crores 4,700 crores. 4776 36,539. It is coming to 35%. It is coming to 35%. Why? Because the original, if you remember the Q1 call, so we had a significant amount of sale from our closing stock, which did not include the additional royalty. So that is why even our Q1 EBITDA was around 66%. Because at that point of time, a significant portion of our sales came from the opening stocks, which did not include the additional premium. So to that extent, it has been sort of a little, the maths has been a little skewed.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, thank you. That's it from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sumangal Nevatia from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead. The current participant has moved out of the queue. We move to the next question. That's from the line of Kirtan Mehta from BOB Caps. Please go ahead. Kirtan Mehta, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with your question.
On the non-steel plant, you have spoken about the capital expenditure on slurry pipeline, then relocation of crusher plant, and additionally a screener plant as well. Could you again run us through which are the contracts which are already awarded and which are the contracts which are sort of under advanced stages of negotiation, and what is the total amount of awarded contracts versus the total amount of contracts under negotiation? Could you summarize that for us?
You see, if you let's take the slurry pipeline first. If you are talking in terms of the investments in the mining business. So slurry pipeline is a project of around 3,000 crores, of which we have already awarded contracts worth 1,500 crores. They are under execution, including the laying of pipeline, which is 1,000 crores, and other ancillary packages of around 500 crores. So 50% of them under execution, and two major packages of 1,000 and 500 crores are in the advanced stage of tendering. So that's the slurry pipeline. The second is the third screening plant at Kirandul, which has a expected capex of around 2,100 to 2,200 crores, of which the major package of 1,500 crores has already been awarded, and there was another ancillary packages of 200-300 crores are under execution. So these are the two major ones that are already going on. Then we have the crushing plant and the screening plant, the relocation of two crushing plants. Each of them will cost us around 600-700 crores. So they have just been sanctioned, and the tendering package is at the very initial stages because specifications are being made up. And so far as the Tokisud is concerned, we are going through the MDO route, so there's not much capex that is to be happening in the Tokisud coal block. And so far as Rohne coal block is concerned, of course, we have got the allotment letter, but other DPR etc. are being prepared, and we have to take a call whether we go to the MDO route, then the capex would be less. And if we go through self-mining, then of course it will entail a significant capex, but that call has not been taken as yet. Apart from that, we have the township projects of around, we are replacing a lot of quarters in our mine, so that each of them would be around 200 crores each, where we have, in one we have already tendered, in the other we are in the process of tendering. So these will come to the execution stage early next financial year. So these are the major big ones. Apart from that, we have a screening plant 2 envisaged at Donimalai, which is again at the clearance stages. So once we get that, so that will be another 500 crores of project. But that for that the clearances, the various environmental clearances, etc. are awaited, without which we cannot go into the tendering stage.
Right, sir. Thank you. This is quite helpful and very clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, namaskar, sir, and thank you for the opportunity. Sir, if you could just give the figure of what was the payout to the shareholders for last year in terms of the buyback and the dividend. What was the absolute number, sir, for the last financial year?
It was around 60% of our PAT, including both. I'm giving you the absolute numbers. Just give me 1 second, I'll give you the absolute numbers. But it was almost 58% of our PAT.
Okay, 58% of the PAT.
Almost 57-58% of the PAT on both the routes. So in one route it was 36, the other route it was the buyback was another 30. I just don't have this.
Right, I'll do the numbers, sir. But just to take the thesis behind it, it is the same policy that should prevail since the environment has further improved in terms of the incremental cash flow. So
I will not speculate on dividends.
No, this is not a speculation.
These are domains which are strictly.
It is only an understanding on what the premise has been on DIPAM's role earlier. The premise should be is in the continuity. This is what investors should take into account. That was my reason for asking the same. Coming to my point, second point was regarding this pellet part, sir. As you have told that the pellet plant would be operational by this quarter itself. So, what would be the likely contribution from pellet for H2? Since we did some losses, we did make again losses of 50 crore for this quarter.
Beg your pardon. Pellets we have finally sort of made a 6 crore profit for H1. So and as the capacity increases, we expect to increase that. So the problem that we were facing, which was hindering the production there, is now getting over. So by Q4, we should be able to run the plant in full capacity. So we should be able to make around 100 crores out of that if in Q4 we are able to run the plant in 100 crores plus if the prices hold. It depends on the prices, but we should be able to make 100 crores plus if the plant runs on full stream in the Q4. We have almost solved the technical problem. They are under various stages of testing and proving. But once that's done by Q4, so we expect that Q4 would be almost on full stream.
No, sir, just to dwell it, for this quarter, for the September, the revenue from the segment of pellet, minerals and services is 106 crores and the PBT loss is around 50 crores. So this is mainly attributable to this pellet part only, or the other minerals and services are the ones?
We have diamond where we make a loss of, because that mining is not operating. So that is around, diamonds we make a loss of around 30 crores a year. So that will be a 15 crores of quarter. And we have Palvancha, which is again a non-operation plant where we make annual loss of 10 to 12 crores. So that is another 3 to 4 crores of quarterly loss. So some substantial other business losses are contributed by the diamond business, which is the mine is unfortunately closed, and this Palvancha.
So this legacy loss will continue going forward also?
Yes, we do not see visibility of the diamond, although we are pursuing it very strongly, but there are regulatory and forest clearances that are due, without which we cannot, the wildlife approvals are required. So once that comes only, then we'll be able to start producing there.
Right. And one more point on the tax rate. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, allow me to just. Yeah. Okay, the tax rate part, if I may ask.
Tax?
The tax rate for us, sir. What is the tax we are paying for this year? And since if I look at the cash flow, the total tax outgo is to the tune of 1,830 crores. So if you could explain, it is account for which year? Previous year also?
Operator, Mr. Sarkar,
Yeah,
may be requested to rejoin the
Yeah. I have asked my question, ma'am. Thank you. Let's reply.
No, you want the basically the income tax outflow, right?
Yes.
So obviously a part of it is for last year, but our average rate of tax would come to around 26-27% of tax.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Ritesh Shah. Before we take the next question, we'd like to please remind the participants to limit their questions up to 2 in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all the participants in the queue. Ritesh Shah from Investec, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, in one of the prior questions, you indicated that there have been a few import shipments on iron ore. So just wanted to understand what is the reason behind this. Is there not adequate supply locally? What would be the motivation for a larger mill or even for a smaller guy to actually import the material when it's available for good quality and a better price locally?
So from whatever we have heard currently, so these are some coast-based steel sponge iron plants who have imported some lump ore which are coming in from Kumba, South Africa. So apart from that, we don't see any other major imports currently. We are not seeing.
Okay. And the second question, can you just help us refresh on the demerger timelines? Basically, earlier you had indicated the process on the timeline. If you could just help refresh that would be quite useful.
The overall timeline generally is around 6 to 8 months. That is what our consultants say. So we are almost halfway through, because the first activity, as you know, is filing with stock exchanges our scheme and receiving complaints from shareholders, if any, and then answering to them. So we had filed it with the BSE, NSE and CSE around 2 months back. fortunately none has been received, no objections or complaints have been received, and now we are awaiting SEBI's nod. Once we get SEBI's nod, then the other processes kick in, that we ask the Government of India or the MCA to allow us or to dispense with holding creditors meet and then holding the shareholders meet. So that will take about a month at least, because it requires 21 days notice. And once that is done, and then we go back to the stock exchanges, and that should take another month. So we have another 3 to 4 months of way ahead. So we expect once SEBI approval comes in, and which could be any time, because it has been filed with SEBI some time back. So it will be after the SEBI approval, it should take around 4 months to 5 months. So considering that we are in November, so by the end of FY2, anything between February and to April end, we should be able to do the demerger process.
Great. Thank you so much for the answers. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sagar Gandhi from Future Generali India Life Insurance. Please go ahead.
Sir, my question pertains to royalty. So last quarter, you had some sales or offtake from the closing stocks. In this quarter, there was no such thing. And can we assume that royalty as a percentage of sales, what it was this quarter, will remain in that range for subsequent quarters?
Yes, more or less. That would be the...
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. That is it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ajay Jain from Amakrant Invest Private Limited. Please go ahead.
So congratulations on a great set of numbers. Just wanted to ask you, there was a little bit of extra expense this time. The sales were more or less the same, but the operating expenses went up. So just wanted to understand why exactly that would have happened.
For quarter to quarter, no?
Yes, quarter to quarter, sir.
Yeah, that's because of stock adjustment. That's because of, if you see H1 to H1, I'll just come to the expenses. Our operational expenses, H1 to H1. Just a minute.
Sure.
You are saying...
about 600 crores has gone up.
Yes. This is basically stock adjustment. If you see,
right,
the Q1, our opening stock was, if you remove the stock adjustment, then it is all, the Q1 expenditure was 913 crores and Q2 expenditure is 1052 crores. But in Q1, we had a stock adjustment of 536 crores rupees. So that is why the net expenditure was 377 crores rupees. And Q2, the gross expenditure was 1052 crores, and we had a stock adjustment of 72 crores. So the operational expenses was being shown as 980 crores. And this is the only reason of around 600 crores was because of stock adjustment.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. And in the last conference call, in fact, you had given a proper timeline of the sale demerger. So if you could just give a little bit of flavor. I'm sorry, you've already said it 2-3 times. But if you could just give a little bit of flavor in the next 3 to 4 months. You're saying it'll be completed in 4 to 5 months. But in the next coming 1 to 3 months, what would be the possible, next hurdles that we could face, or the next milestones that we have to complete?
The next milestone is obviously SEBI approval, for which we have already requested SEBI. Now, we cannot speak on behalf of SEBI when the approval comes through. But once it comes through, the next milestone is approaching the government for dispensing with or holding creditors meet and EGM to get the scheme approved. So as you know, it requires a notice of 21 days, etc. So I take it that once SEBI approves, in around 45 days time, we will be able to hold the creditors meet and the EGM. Now once that is done, we then again approach the stock exchanges and SEBI that it has been done. And once SEBI again approves that, we go back to the government for the necessary notification, etc., etc. So that's the major milestones.
Fair enough, sir. Thank you. And I think thank you and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pinakin from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Maybe you would have answered this question earlier. Apologies for asking it again. We are running at around 8.5 to 9 million tons per quarter of iron ore production and broadly sales. Going forward, sir, for the next 2 years, what kind of volumes do you see in terms of production and dispatches?
So currently, we are doing around 8.5, 9, around 9. 9 is what we did in Q2 and Q1 is around that we have done. So going forward, definitely the H2 is much better traditionally than the H1. So like I've mentioned, we should be doing around 44, 45 million tons in this year. And in the next year, probably around 50 million tons is what we are targeting. So these are things production targets which we have in our mind.
So, sir, just to labor this point slightly more, for the last 4-5 years, iron ore production for NMDC has been 32 to 35 million tons. So when you go from 32 to 44 and 12 million tons incremental iron ore production, a lot of steel companies have started getting their own captive mines, ArcelorMittal in India, JSW Steel. And while we have had iron ore disruption from the state of Orissa, once it normalizes, then how easy or difficult it would be for the company to place this additional volumes? Do you see that, effectively as your customers start ramping up their captive mines, domestic iron ore prices should come further under pressure?
I do not see for currently with these levels of volume, we are assured of optics. So we are secure in terms of the current production. So we do not see any major disruption in these volumes. So up to this point of time, really up to 50 million tons, they should not. And then we have the option of going in for exports also. So that's always there.
Understood. And sir, lastly, just to understand on this 44 million tons, what will be your royalty? Just clarification on the royalty point. So what will be the percentage of volumes which will have the higher royalty on the 44 million tons?
Except for 7 million ton which comes from Kumaraswamy, the mine which has not been come under renewal as of now. So this financial year, the additional royalty will be applicable to the entire production except 7 million tons of which will come from Kumaraswamy.
Understood.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Bora from Sharekhan. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I had only one clarification that you mentioned that 200 rupees per ton of incremental realization was on the back of improved grades and lower sales of lime. So this is sustainable going forward to build in the EBITDA margins?
Beg your pardon once again, please. I didn't understand your question.
In the initial remark, in one of the questions, you mentioned that out of the total incremental blended realization improvement on a sequential basis, yes, 100 rupees per ton is on the account of your improved grades and remaining from a better product mix. So is this sustainable going forward, like one should build that this will flow to EBITDA going forward also?
Yes.
Or this is one of in this quarter?
Last year we sold about 1.4 million tons of slime in a total production of 34 million tons. Now if we do around 44-45 million tons this year, I don't think our slime sale is going to at all increase more than that. In fact, hopefully it is going to be lower. So naturally, the product mix on the average realization would be much higher that way because of product mix.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Saji from AV Saji and Associates. Please go ahead.
Hello. Sir, you have mentioned that the EBITDA margin is 47% for the Q2. Any guidance you can give this margin? Can we maintain this margin for next half year also?
Yes, the prices sustain, then it will be around this range only. It will depend on the prices being sustained, which we hope and which we expect that these prices would sustain. And in such a case, the EBITDA would be around this because it's a fixed cost industry. There's not likely to be much increase in the cost of production, the C1 cost of production with increase of volumes. So we do expect to be around this range.
As they have considered royalty impact also in this?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vishal Chandak from DAM Capital. Please go ahead. Vishal Chandak, your line is unmuted. You may please go ahead with your question. As there's no response from the current participant, we move to the next question from the line of Monica Bajaj from Steelmint. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, I just wanted to ask that in the last con call you had mentioned that the coal mining operation would start in Jharkhand towards Q2, Q3. So are we in line with that, or are there some changes?
So we have two mines there. We have been allocated two mines in Jharkhand. One is in Tokisud and the other is Rone. So Rone, the formal clearances are yet to come through. The Tokisud is already there. However, the final clearance is awaited with the government of Jharkhand. So we are expecting it to come very soon. So once that comes, then our MDO is already in place. So we'll be able to start quickly.
So, sir, we can expect by about Q3, Q4 that could be started?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to speculate, but should happen.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor & Company. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Just a small clarification. If we look at the line item selling expenses, including freight for the first half, the last year was around 245 crore. For this year, it is 102. So what explains this drop, sir?
Because there is no exports.
Okay.
You see, we sell to our domestic customers X mines. So the entire logistic cost to railways and others is borne by them. But in case of exports, it is I have to take it FOB Vizag. So that railway expenses used to be ours, but since there is no export, so there's a significant drop in selling expenses.
Okay. Sir, currently the iron ore index is hovering below $100. So taking that into account, the import parity price for ore for the country works at what level? We would like to know whether we are still selling below the import parity prices, our benchmark.
So currently yes. However, let us see. I mean, going forward, with the Chinese buying not there in the market, so the prices are down. But however, going forward, let us see how it works out.
20% discount.
So with the current price, import parity prices, our prices are at 20%, 15-20% discount.
Discount. And lastly, sir.
At the East Coast.
On the East Coast.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Adro. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello, sir. Actually, I don't know if this question has been answered, but I just wanted to know. So when we have said that the realizations have improved quarter on quarter due to better grade, so what exactly is this? Is the definition behind the improvement in the grades? Because previously you had mentioned that in the previous quarters the company was being penalized for missing the grade requirements. So how exactly is this calculated? Could perhaps call on this? Thank you very much.
You see, when we sell, there is a declared grade. So if I sell it for 65%, so there is a declared grade. I am selling this for 65%, and the prices are set accordingly. Now, if they actually the grade is 66%, I get a bonus. If it is 45%, then a penalty is charged on me, and the customer pays less. But if I sell a higher grade, when it comes out of the chemical testing that it is actually 66%, then I charge the customer extra. So that's called a bonus. So this time significantly our production quality has been sustained very well. So our actual grade has been more than our declared grades at the time of sale. So that is how around about 100 rupees per ton there has been a realization.
So what happens really is that the effort is to improve, sell a higher grade rather than 60 plus grades trying to. So we are investing in machinery and other processes which improve our grades. So doing waste mining to ensure that the mine faces are well exposed so that we have good grades.
Okay, so just to understand, this is mainly related to the ferrous content and not something like, say, a high sulfur or low sulfur. It's mainly on the ferrous content, right? I'm sorry, I didn't get that part.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. That is all my question. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Venkatesh Subramanian from Logitry Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
So can you give us just two quick ones? For FY23, you guided for a volume of, is it 15 million tons or 54 million tons? Could you just clarify on that, sir?
Currently, we are aiming at doing 50 million tons.
Okay, sir. And second, could you give us, throw some light on where do you expect the iron ore prices in India to prevail over the next year, sir? Some sort of an idea based on your internal assessment. Yeah.
You can't really speculate on the prices going. So this being a commodity product, and obviously the domestic prices are not linked to the international prices, but they do have an effect. Can't really speculate on the prices at this point of time.
So, but to maintain our current profitability, what is the level that would be good for us, sir?
As compared to last year?
No, the trend, sir, compared to the recent quarter, what would be the weighted average price that you would look forward to for next financial year to maintain the current level of profitability, sir?
Well, the current levels of prices would more than sustain us to maintain our profitability.
And would you put a number to that, sir?
The current level of prices average is around, including DMF, NMET, etc., is around 6,700 to 6,700.
6,700, sir? Yeah.
Including the current, that includes royalty, DMF, NMET.
All included 6,700. Okay.
And that's the average. So lumps and fines, average you can calculate.
So anything on top of 6,700 that we get for next year is going to be an addition to the profits, basically.
Yes,
yeah. Great. Thank you, sir. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kamlesh Bagmar from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. One question on the side of steel plant commissioning. So we are guiding Q4 for the commissioning, but I believe that still we have not fired even the coke plants. So what is the timeline and what's the realistic timeline on the commissioning of the steel plant? Are we saying just a part of the plant getting commissioned or it's an integrated commissioning?
Normally it's an integrated commissioning only is what we would look at. So and like we mentioned, we are targeting Q4 for starting the plant.
But sir, what's the status of various other plants like your coke oven batteries or like the other segments which we are planning to commission?
So what happens is the coke oven is ready. Coke ovens are ready for pushing. The heating has to start. We'll start the heating in a couple of days, and then the other packages, the blast furnace, the SMS, they are all ready, and the slab caster. So those mills are already quite at an advanced stage. So we should be able to commission the plant.
And secondly, on the side of this discount to import parity prices at the East Coast, 20% which we are telling. So, like say earlier, it used to be around 40 to 45%. So, what particular discount are we comfortable with? Because now the imports are again coming back, and some cargoes have been booked. It's a more of a practice to keep the pressure on the domestic prices. So, what level of discount we are comfortable with?
Anything between 10 to 20% is comfortable with that.
Okay. And so lastly, as compared to the quarter average, I believe current realizations are down by roughly around 1,000 odd rupees per ton. So is this particular conclusion correct on the pricing side or on the realization side?
Beg your pardon?
your current realizations are roughly around 1,000 to 1,200 rupees lower compared to the quarter average. And
the previous quarter, is it?
Yeah, previous quarter.
No, it's actually 600, but if you take off, if you reduce the royalty, etc., on the basic price, it is around 220 to 250 rupees. And I had explained that these are because of three reasons. One is, of course, that we are selling better grades because of the bonuses that we have received as compared to Q1. Second, the contribution of slime in the total sales is less. And the third, that in Karnataka, Q1 auctions, that April-May auctions have been picked up in Q2. So they had bought in April and May, and the actual dispatch took place in July-August. So that is the three reasons why approximately 250 rupees on the basic price there has been an increase.
No, sir, I'm not talking about the September. I'm talking about the quarter average.
Yeah, I'm talking about the quarter only. You see, the Q2 average realization domestic was 7,444, and Q1 it was 6,813. So that's around 550 rupees. So if you leave out the royalty and additional royalty component out of it, on a basic price to basic price, the average realization, I'll just tell you both the figures. Just give me 1 second. The Q1 to Q1 prices were...
I am talking about the current realizations, which we are getting in October and or November.
Oh, the current realization is slightly lower than the Q2 average.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vikas Singh from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for giving me opportunity. Sir, I just wanted to understand your expected credit loss which has been getting accumulated with the Karnataka government. What is the amount as of now, and any update on the next hearing?
The amount is the accumulated ECL that we are due to get from the monitoring committee is around 2,600 crore as of now. But unfortunately, this will require a Supreme Court clearance to get this money from the monitoring committee, and we are actually pursuing it with the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, we have not been able to get a date. As and when the matter is listed, I think in one hearing or two, we should be able to. We are optimistic that we should be able to get the Supreme Court clearance is required to get this 2,600 crores released from the monitoring committee.
Understood, sir. So my second question pertains to our steel plant. Since the commissioning date is now just a quarter away, considering as long as we are not selling, how are we planning to operate it? I wanted to understand in terms of our targets in terms of next year production. Have the selling team and the other personnel are in place? So what is our plan there in terms of our readiness in terms of if we have to operate, since we have a little bit of less basically knowledge in the steel business at this point of time?
So what we have done is actually we have tied up with Mecon. So Mecon is our consultant, EPCM consultant, and they will go in for contracting people and hiring people, and that's how we intend to run the operations in association with Mecon.
So at this point of time, the entire teams are not have been finalized.
Yeah, Mecon is going to do it, so they have already started the process. So I think they will be in place in the next couple of months.
And any update on the possible production next year?
No, not yet.
FY23 production?
No, we'll have to. This will be. This will have to be ramped up to 66% initially, and then after that we go into full production. So can't really tell you the numbers or the volumes which will happen.
Okay, sir. Thank you for taking my question. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, thanks for taking my question. I have a just a question on the royalty. If my understanding is right, suppose X fine price is 100. The royalty should be 42.5. So realization is 142.5, and then royalty is 42.5. So your ideal case, even when the entire Karnataka comes under this royalty system, should not be more than 30% of realization, isn't it?
No, I think your understanding is not very correct on that, unfortunately. Our declared price is 100, and then the royalty on that is around 15, and DMF NMT is another 4.5%, so it comes to 20.2% or 21%, depending on whether it is in Karnataka or whether it is here. Now, in Karnataka, the DMF and NMT is not a pass-through item, it is paid from our pocket. And this 22.5% is also included in that 100 rupees, so that is also paid from the pocket. So, if I take the overall realization from the customer, which in Chhattisgarh would be around 120 rupees, so it will be around 44-45% of that 120 rupees.
But essentially, the base price would reflect this, right? I mean, you will try to pass it on, and then accordingly the base price will come down. I mean, isn't that where the convergence will be?
You see, when this was introduced in April, this 28th of March, actually, let's take it was effective from April, this 22.5%. So we had taken 2 or 3 very significant price rises at that point of time, which almost neutralized the net effect on the finances of NMDC. But thereafter, it has been a market determined prices. We have been then thereafter the price movement would depend on various market forces, and not only in this one. So, but in percentage terms, you will for around 43 to 44% would from the entire collection would go to the government as royalty, DMF, NMT, and as the premium, additional premium or royalty, whatever you call it.
Okay, got it. That's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Soji from AV Soji and Associates. Please go ahead.
Sir, do you have any idea or can you show any light on possible impact of China cooling down steel production? So can India fill up the gap, or India can get more orders for that?
So obviously now since China is not exporting, so there is a gap, and that's how we have seen exports going up from India currently. So in any case, it will entirely depend on the strategy what China does at that point of time, because they are a significant player in this sector.
So India is getting benefited out of that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anmol Das from Systematics. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is on this demerged steel plant. Are we going to have any exclusive contracts for the sourcing of raw materials regarding the iron ore as well as the captive coal mines also?
The Nagarnar steel plant does not have any sort of captive mines. So they will be NMDC will supply the iron ore on an arm's length pricing basis. However, having said that, we would enter into a sort of long-term agreement with the steel plant for quantity-based contracts. That's on the iron ore front. The other raw material will have to be purchased, as do other steel plants.
And we can expect this demerged steel business to be listed by end of Q4 on a broad base?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. First point was about the fact that are there any talks, sir, of ban on export of steel scrap from Europe, and what could be its impact on the iron ore market in particular? And secondly, sir, on the slurry pipeline commissioning, what is the timeline and what are the benefits that we are going to accrue over a period of time?
So I do not, I'm not aware of any sort of ban on this European scrap. So won't be able to comment on that. So the other thing is about the slurry pipeline. Currently most of our material moves on rail on the KK line. Obviously we are doubling that line so to increase our evacuation capacity. But the slurry pipeline which we are building from Kirandul to Visakhapatnam, first phase is up to Nagarnar and then down to Visakhapatnam. So this is a 15 million ton per annum pipeline.
The cost savings, if you could quantify, what would be the savings annually post this commissioning and the timeline for the commissioning?
So the slurry pipeline is expected to be commissioned somewhere in FY24, and the first phase of the slurry pipeline, and the second phase obviously will take another couple of years more. The other thing is obviously there is a huge amount of cost benefit while moving the material through a slurry vis-a-vis through a rail. A huge amount of difference. So
rail is around 700 rupees per ton to Vizag.
So Vizag from our Baladila sector, the total freight by rail is somewhere around 1200 rupees, and by slurry pipeline takes hardly 200.
Right, sir. And lastly, sir, on the forest.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohan Dogre, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to ask that what are the measures taken by our company towards climate change? So that being said, what are we giving back to the nature as we are extracting iron ore from ground, sir?
So the company has embarked on this ESG thing. We are starting this ESG journey and working on sustainability goals also. Environment, we do a lot of activities in terms of afforestation. We have a mine closure plans in place. So there's a huge amount of work which goes on in terms of our CSR activity also. So environment is something which we always is on priority. If you look at our mines, I mean each of our mines are 5-star rated mines where environment is a major factor. So these are and we have been consistently receiving awards on our on the work which you do on the environment front. So NMDC is actually one of those miners who have always invested in the environment, and our stakeholders who are presently there with us in these regions.
Thank you, sir. Really pleased to hear that.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sagar Gandhi from Future Generali India Life. Please go ahead.
Sir, my question pertains to, sir, you highlighted in earlier questions that Kumaraswamy mine 7 million ton offtake will not be under the new royalty regime. So from when this new royalty regime will kick in for Kumaraswamy mine?
Kumaraswamy mine is due for renewal in 2023. Sometime in, I think, 22. It is in 22 October, I think, October 2022 it is due for renewal. Once the renewal is made under this guideline, thereafter it will entail this additional royalty on that 7 million ton.
Okay, so sir, the current royalty as a percentage of sales, which as on Q2 stands at 40%, with Kumaraswamy also getting in this, it will go higher.
That's for the next financial year. That will affect only in the next FY, not in this.
Yeah, in the next financial year, but that understanding is correct, right?
Yeah, half of next financial year will be affected, the other half will not be affected. So if you see the full effect will come from the subsequent FY, that is FY24.
Okay. And sir, with this debottlenecking projects going through over the next 2 to 3 years, what will be the production capacity? So you guided 44 million tons for this year and 50 for next year. So for in 24 and 25, NMDC's production capacity, will it go to 55-60 million tons per annum?
Yes. It currently with the sort of, I mean, there's a recent guidelines which have environmental guidelines which have also there. So we will be able to mine the EC capacity goes up by 20%. So finally, we aim to do around 70 million tons EC capacity. We want to reach that figure.
That should be by 24, 25?
25.
25, yeah. Thank you so much, sir. It answers my questions.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to the management for their closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure answering the questions. NMDC, as usual, we are determined to enhance our capacities and add value to this the nation's cause of self-reliance. And to that extent, we are determined to ensure that our production capacities go up. And as usual, you would have seen that our Q2 has been exceptionally. We have done exceptionally well. I mean, these are figures which we have last achieved in 2012. So quite exceptional performance from our side. And we aim to sustain these sort of results. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes the conference call. Thank you for joining us. And you may now disconnect your line.
Do you have